At 56, one of golf's biggest names should be coasting toward a comfortable legacy. Instead, Phil Mickelson's wife was just seen without her wedding ring. And the sport is chewing on one question after 30 years. Is a divorce quietly coming? It happened on an ordinary grocery run in San Diego. Cameras found Amy the way they always do. Then fans spotted what was absent. That band survived 3 decades of marriage, yet suddenly it was gone. Think about everything that ring endured. Chemo, recovery, every storm his name ever dragged home. It never came off. Until now. Nobody will explain why. Here's where it darkens. Phil has become a ghost this season, a single tournament all year. He skipped Augusta entirely. The PGA championship carried on without him. His camp called it a private family matter and pleaded for space. Reporters refused to grant it. Golf Digest surfaced misconduct claims of vanished membership, an ugly photo scandal from years back. In June, his reps swore Amy stood by him. Then she walked alone, finger bare, lips sealed, no papers filed, yet the whispers roar. Subscribe now before the next bombshell drops, because what these images reveal could shatter everything. Look closer at the frame itself. Amy wasn't hiding. She strolled through a Trader Joe's parking lot in San Diego, alongside her daughter, Amanda Bryn, loading bags into the car like any other Tuesday. This marked her first time in front of a lens since the allegations against her husband exploded across every golf feed in the country. Fans expected a statement. What they got instead was a hand. Her left one, resting on a grocery bag, stripped of the diamond she'd worn at the 2021 Ryder Cup, at charity galas, at nearly every appearance the public can remember. The absence spoke before she did. Now, plenty of people slip a ring off. Gardening, cooking, a loose fit after weight changes. The reasons are usually mundane. So on its own, this proves nothing. That's the honest part. But context is everything, and the context around Amy Mickelson right now is a house on fire. Rewind to June. Golf Digest dropped a report that landed like a grenade in the sport. An employee at the Farms Golf Club in Rancho Santa Fe accused Phil of non-consensual, inappropriate physical contact. Within days, the club confirmed he was no longer a member. His camp scrambled, insisting any misunderstanding had been cleared up, that he was simply stepping back to handle a private family health matter. The wording was careful, the timing was not. Then the past clawed its way back into the daylight. Reporters resurfaced a 2015 accusation that Phil had sent an explicit photograph to the ex-wife of fellow pro Pat Perez. Old story, new oxygen. Suddenly, a decade-old whisper became a pattern in the public's eyes, stacked on top of the fresh claims like kindling. His attorneys pushed back hard, calling some reporting false and framing other pieces as mistakes he'd already acknowledged. That defense, though, only confirmed there were mistakes worth acknowledging. Here's what makes the golf side so damning. Phil essentially vanished from competition this year. He sat out the opening LV events in Saudi Arabia and Australia, then Hong Kong and Singapore too, all beneath that same Family Health Matter banner. He finally resurfaced in South Africa, finished a forgettable tied 48th, and slipped back into the shadows. Augusta came and went without him. The PGA Championship never printed his name. The U.S. Open moved on as though one of its most decorated champions had never existed. For a man who built a career on being everywhere, being nowhere screamed volumes. Grasp the height of the fall to feel it properly. Just 5 years ago at 50, Phil stormed Kiowa Island and seized the PGA Championship, becoming the oldest major winner in the history of the game. Grown men wept in the gallery. It was supposed to be the fairy tale coda to a Hall of Fame story. Now that same man skips majors, dodges cameras, and lets lawyers do his talking. The distance between that roaring Sunday and this silent summer is staggering, and Amy witnessed every step of both. Understand who she is before you judge that bare finger. She isn't a bystander to Phil's fame. The two met at Arizona State, married in November 1996, and built a family of 3 around his ascent. She cheered on the sidelines quite literally as a former Phoenix Suns dancer before becoming golf's most recognizable spouse. In 2003, she nearly died delivering their youngest, Evan. 6 years later, she confronted breast cancer, and Phil cleared his schedule to sit beside her hospital bed. She beat it. Through every storm his name ever attracted, she remained. Devotion like that doesn't evaporate over a parking lot photo, which is exactly why the image unsettles so many people. Picture the moment that once defined them. Spring of 2010, Augusta National, Phil sinking the winning putt while still deep in the shadow of Amy's diagnosis. He walked off the 18th and folded into her arms, both of them in tears, the whole sport melting at the sight. That embrace became the emotional signature of their marriage, proof that whatever hit them, they absorbed it together. Set that photograph beside the grocery lot one, and the contrast lands like a punch. The same couple, 15 years apart, telling two wildly different stories. And his name has attracted plenty of storms beyond the fairway. In 2016, the SEC named him in an insider trading case tied to gambler Billy Walters, and while Phil faced no criminal charges, he agreed to repay roughly $1 million in profits. Years later, Walters alleged that Phil had wagered sums so enormous they defied belief, even claiming Phil once wanted to bet on his own Ryder Cup team. Alan Shipnuck's unauthorized biography painted a portrait of a man courting risk at every turn, on the course and far beyond it. Amy stood through all of it, smiling for the cameras, absorbing the whispers. That history is what makes the current silence so jarring by comparison. The deepest cut to his reputation, though, came in 2022. Shipnuck published Phil's own blistering words about the Saudi backers of LIV Golf. A quote so reckless it cost him sponsors and forced him into a months-long retreat from public life. Longtime partners paused their deals. His standing inside the traditional game curdled almost overnight. Amy weathered that firestorm at his side, too, riding out the boos and the think pieces until the noise faded. Each time the world counted him out, she helped pull him back. The pattern is what makes this latest chapter feel different, because this time the pulling seems to have stopped. As recently as late June, the official line was pure devotion. A family representative told the press that Amy was supporting her husband with, and these are the exact words they chose, extraordinary grace and unwavering love. The statement painted a wife measuring a man not by his failures, but by how he works to repair them. It was polished. It was deliberate. It was engineered to smother the speculation in its crib. For a few weeks, the tactic held. Then a lens in a grocery lot dismantled all of it in a single click. There's an older thread worth pulling here, one that quietly complicates the loyal wife narrative. Back in 2021, Phil left the Madison Club in La Quinta. For years, the assumption was a simple falling out over club politics, but Shipnuck, reporting for Scratch, surfaced accounts suggesting Amy herself drove the exit, allegedly pressing him to offload a condo he kept on the property amid cheating allegations. A senior figure at the club softened the account, saying he wasn't strictly thrown out. Still, the picture emerging is of a woman who has drawn hard lines before, away from public view, long before any of us noticed. If she acted that decisively, then what might her stillness signal now? Consider that phrase they keep repeating too. Family health matter. It sounds gentle, protective, almost sympathetic, yet nobody outside the household knows what it actually means. Some assume it points to Amy, given her medical history. Others suspect it's a convenient umbrella, broad enough to explain any absence without inviting a single follow-up question. The beauty of the phrase, from a crisis manager's view, is that it forecloses curiosity while revealing nothing. That ambiguity has quietly powered this entire mystery from the very start. Silence is the loudest element of the whole saga. Neither Phil nor Amy has addressed the photograph. No representative has explained the vanished ring. No filing has appeared in any courthouse. No separation has been announced. No divorce confirmed. Nothing on paper anyone can point to. By every official measure, the Mickelsons are still married, yet the vacuum where a denial belongs is doing more damage than any headline could manage. When a couple of this fluent in damage control suddenly goes mute, the muteness itself starts to resemble an answer. Predictably, the fans have noticed, comment sections have mutated into forensic labs, magnifying pixels, comparing old red carpet portraits against the grocery frame, timestamping every recent outing. Some insist it's a nothing moment inflated grotesquely out of proportion. Others have already begun drafting the eulogy for a marriage spanning 3 decades. Reality almost certainly rests somewhere between those extremes, in a spot neither faction wants to concede is genuinely unknowable at this hour. That uncertainty is precisely what keeps the story breathing, renewing itself with every fresh sighting and every deleted then restored post. Spare a thought for the people caught in the middle of it. The Mickelsons raised 3 children through the glare: Amanda Bryn, the eldest, then Sophia, then Evan, whose birth nearly claimed Amy's life. They grew up watching their father chase green jackets and their mother beat cancer, a family forged in public yet fiercely guarded at the edges. Amanda walking beside her mother through that parking lot reads, 2 ways. Maybe it's a daughter running ordinary errands. Maybe it's a grown child closing ranks around a parent under siege. Whatever the truth, the kids never signed up to have their family's fractures magnified across millions of screens, and yet here we all are, studying a grocery run frame by frame. Return to the ring itself for a second, because the detail matters more than people realize. Amy didn't lose it in some hidden moment. She wore that band proudly at the 2021 Ryder Cup, one of the most photographed stages the sport offers, beaming beside her husband for the world's cameras. A wife who displays a ring that publicly then steps out bare-handed at the height of a scandal is either indifferent to how it looks or fully aware of it. Neither reading is comforting for Phil. Symbols carry weight precisely because people notice when they disappear, and a woman as media-savvy as Amy understands that better than anyone. The choice, conscious or not, has already spoken. So where does all of this leave us? A champion who traded the roar of the fairway for the glare of scandal? A wife who outlasted cancer and controversy, now captured without the single symbol that defined her union? A publicist's promise of unwavering love, aging badly against one stray image? A couple who could end the speculation with a sentence, yet elect to say nothing whatsoever. Each unanswered question stacks a little higher. Each appearance invites a harsher dissection. The chasm between what we can see and what we're permitted to know has rarely felt this wide. Weigh what actually hangs in the balance and the stakes climb fast. This isn't a fleeting celebrity fling built to burn out. Nearly 30 years bind these two, along with a fortune, a foundation, 3 grown children, and a legacy stitched into the fabric of the sport. A rupture here wouldn't just end a marriage. It would rewrite the public story of a man already fighting to salvage his name, and it would recast the woman long celebrated as his steadiest anchor. The ripple would reach his LIV future, his endorsements, and the fragile goodwill he spent years trying to rebuild. Few splits carry this kind of gravity, which is why the golf world can't look away. Perhaps the ring reappears next week, and the entire episode dissolves into a collective overreaction. Perhaps it doesn't, and we're witnessing the slow, wordless unraveling of one of golf's most enduring partnerships in real time. Nobody beyond that marriage knows which way it breaks, but the signals are pointing somewhere specific, and not one of them drifts toward business as usual. If a story like this grips you, if you crave the developments the tabloids bury beneath clickbait and half-truths, then do one small thing before you leave. Subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell so nothing slips past you. We chase every twist in this saga the instant it breaks, cut clean through the noise, and hand you only what genuinely holds up under scrutiny. The next chapter is already forming, and when it lands, you'll want to hear it right here first.